There's nothing like cracking that cellophane, pulling that record out. It just smells great.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Unlike any other.
With your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bod Father.
Man, this stuff rocks.
The views and opinions of the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Hour, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Hey guys, this is Raven with Sister Kill Cycle, and you're watching BODS Mayhem Hour right here.
Hey everybody, welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I am your host, John the Bod, aka the Bod Father, and as always, I bring you guys and gals awesome interviews. Today, it's an honor and a privilege to welcome Mr. Raven Chain, vocalist of Sister Kill Cycle, and they have released their 15-track new album entitled Blood, Money, Death. They picked the best of the best to give fans a collective of what Sister Kill Cycle truly is. The goth rock band explores textures across new wave, metal, and classic rock in their 20-plus year-long career. Also, check out singles that are out right now from Blood, Money, Death, Blood Pact, and Cancel Culture. And this is, I interviewed you back in 2019. The album Crossed My Heart. So you guys have been doing a lot of stuff. So how you doing, man?
I'm doing well, man. Thanks for having me on the show again, man.
Not a problem. I was excited when Raquel said, let's get Raven back on your show. And I was like, let's do it. Yeah. Let's get him back on here.
Yeah, it's always a pleasure.
How excited are you to finally release this new album, Blood, Money, Death?
Oh, it's a relief to put it together with, some of the older albums, the production quality wasn't the greatest. So I kind of was glad to bury the older albums, but I kind of got influenced that some of those songs needed a second chance by my good friend Tom from October Noir. So we got together and we just tried to figure out what we thought were the best songs throughout the career of the band and put it together. And obviously some of the production couldn't be fixed because it was done in, a mixing room that we have no control over the tracks anymore. But Tom did basically some mastering and kind of got the songs to where they're the same across the board, if that makes any sense. But yeah, it's it's really great and exciting to have something like this and showcase, some of the best music that we put out. We're also working on a brand new record, but I can't release a lot of info on that. Just maybe a fall release.
Just a little teaser.
Yeah.
So how did it come about to remaster and release this so-called best of the best songs from you guys? What led down to that? Like, hey, we need to get these back out again.
Again, Tom and I from October Noir, we're really good friends. And he was like, man, he's like, you guys have so many great songs that I know a lot of people have not heard before. He's like, I know a lot of people know who you guys are. You've toured the country. You're played out of the country, all over the world. But he said, I think a lot of these songs didn't get the chance that they needed. And he's like, take this time, get these songs out and start pushing them again. And he's like, I guarantee you people are going to start liking it and grabbing hold of it. So for better or for worse, I took his advice and that's where we are now.
So here's $1 million question. I know you guys have a lot of albums out and you've been doing this for a very long time, Raven, but are there any songs in your opinion that are sleepers that didn't get out to be a single or anything? Are there any songs that you wish you're like, man, that one should have went out? That's a sleeper.
I mean, obviously there's a song that we put on this album called Nowhere, but it actually didn't make it on this album. The production on it was just too terrible to put out and actually charge people money for it. So, but the song itself, I think it was a really well-written, really great song that actually probably would have fit pretty well on the Can't Feel Cross My Heart album. But yeah, they're all music, all of them are like children. So you can't really pick like your favorite or your least favorite or anything like that.
Yes.
So I mean, it is what they is. They're just fragments of time of what was going on with me and the band at the time they were written. That's kind of the way I look at them.
Was it hard to pick and choose what songs were going to be on this album, or pretty easily?
That was pretty easy. I just let Tom pick them. he's we're talking about him a lot, but pretty much I let him just be the producer for this record. So I let him make a lot of executive decisions. So if you guys hate it, you can blame Tom.
Did the album turn out exactly the way you and Tom wanted it to? Did you get exactly what you wanted out of it?
Yeah, from what we had to work with, I think so. And again, like I said, some of the production in the earlier songs, I mean, you could still tell it's earlier music, but Tom was able to like bring it across and make it sound fresh again, modern sounding with the big thick EQ and all that stuff. So overall, yes, if I had it my way, I would have liked to went back and re-recorded everything in the studio and put it out that way. But that's just time and money, and we wanted to go ahead and get something out this year, to start pumping everything up.
How good does it feel though when you hear these songs and you go back and thinking, wow, this is what I was thinking at this time compared to the rest of them that's on here? I mean, how good does that feel to see the evolution of Sister Kill Cycle?
I mean, for me personally, I'm proud of it. The evolution of the writing style and process, I think, has evolved a much more mature and better writing than some of the earlier stuff. I mean, we don't hide the fact that earlier on we were more like a punk rock goth band, just very simple rock and roll songs. But as the years go by and stuff like that, you learn little tricks and stuff, to make songs develop better. And so I think we were able to achieve that, and so that's something I'm proud of as far as that goes.
So is this the version of Sister Kill Cycle we're going to get from here on out, or are you guys still experimenting with that music to go outside your boundaries?
I mean, me, I'm kind of an eccentric person, so I wouldn't want to pigeonhole myself and say, this is how Sister Kill Cycle is going to sound forever. I mean,
Yeah.
there's a general overall sound that is Sister Kill Cycle. If you pay attention, there's certain elements that are kind of always going to be there. But who knows? I mean, to say I wouldn't do anything more electronic, I can't say that because I'm a really huge fan of like 80s music and like the early electronic stuff. So who knows? I mean, it's always going to be Sister Kill Cycle. You could be sure of that.
How's the feedback been on the release of this album, man? What have you been seeing that's kind of fueled your fire still?
Oh, it's been awesome, actually. We hired on a PR firm, Raquel Figalo, and some of the reviews that are coming back from the media that she's been sending out is just, I mean, it's amazing. Like it pretty much did what we intended it to do, because some of the songs, are getting reviewed now that never got reviewed back in the past. So it's really cool to see that happening. The fan response, of course, has been like crazy. I mean, I think the first day we were well over 1,200, 1,300 streams on the release day. So, for this time and age and a band in our position, I think that's pretty good.
I love Raquel to death. I've done many interviews for her, and she knows what she's doing and she can handle her own. That is for sure.
Yeah, she's fantastic. She's awesome.
I know you said these are your babies, and I totally get that. But are there any tracks standing out more to you than any right now on this album? Or are there any songs that really like took a leap forward? Like, wow, this is totally different.
I mean, I of course, love can't feel. I think it kind of is like near and dear to me out of pretty much all of my songs. There's a really unique version of Blood Pack on this album that nobody's ever got to hear before. It was basically a demo version that we produced, and it got to a certain point, and I was like, nah, this sounds too modern, new metal, too radio friendly. So I scrapped it, and then of course we went on to do what everybody heard on the album version. But it's on there, and I think it's pretty cool, especially A and Bing the two together to see where it came from or another direction it could have went. I thought that was really cool, and it kind of shines on its own.
So with this impact of these songs going out now for people that's not heard your music, have you seen an increase of fans coming on to Sister Kill Cycle now?
Yeah, it's like I said, since the release, it's been crazy across all media, like our Facebook, our TikTok, our Instagram followers are up like 500-600% across the board, pretty much. So it's been pretty dramatic. So I think it's just reaching more people now, and of course, we've levied the ideas of doing some, some of those pay for play spots on, what is it? That damn program that I despise, but everybody uses it. Spotify.
Is it a collaborative effort, or does one person usually just take the lead for writing, Raven? Does anybody help also with the writing, or is it just you solely?
No, I mean, it depends. I mean, I do bring a lot of material to the table as far as like vocally and musically. I started out as a guitar player, so I was not intended to be a singer, or I didn't want to be a singer, I'd rather say. So yeah, I do a lot of the writing, but Roy does quite a bit of writing himself, musically and lyrically, for the first time on this new album that will be coming up later this year or early next year. We've collectively been working weirdly fabulous together for the first time. So it's hard for me to sing someone else's lyrics unless I can feel it, unless I can become it, and it means something to me. Otherwise, it's like a cover. So yeah, I mean, Roy's been writing, Mike Hill's been writing, and pretty much the three of us are knocking this album out. It's almost done, as a matter of fact. I mean, we're probably 7 or 8 songs into the album now that's wrapped up.
So what does each of you bring to this band that just makes the chemistry work, man? You're just like, these are my guys. These are the ones I want.
Yeah, we hate each other. We're kind of like Gene Wilder and Richard Pryor. Like on camera, we look good, but we hate each other in real life. It's probably just, the fact that we all have like similar backgrounds and a love for music and entertainment. So I think that passion is one thing that we share in common, and it's our common ground that keeps us together. And I mean, the guys are like my brothers. We live together, we write together. Especially if you tour together, you can determine if someone's going to stay in the band if you can stand touring with them.
Yeah. That's when you make it or break it. Like, you want to do this or not, you want to go back home and crawl in a bed and curl up.
Yeah.
Is the track listing placement important for Sister Kill Cycle's albums or EP releases? Does it really matter?
I mean, I think so. I like to kind of, even if we're not doing an album that tells a story, I kind of like the songs to go in an order to where there is a story, or at least something that can be perceived by our fans. And again, I go back to how I write music is I try to leave it open enough for people to identify with as their own story. So I don't make it too over the top where it's too descriptive that it's just solely me. So we kind of do that with the song placement as well when we're telling a story. Can't Feel, pretty much the track placement on that was very important because it was a sequence of events, and the songs are kind of lined up on that album in the order of those events. So it tells a dark story that I'm rather glad to be done with. But again, it was, part of my life, so it's out there for the world to devour.
So speaking of that, though, what has been the toughest or the best song, in your opinion, that you've written or the band has written?
It's difficult because there's some really, really good ones on this new record coming out. But I would say up to this point, probably Can't Feel. I would have to say if I had to pick one song out of my entire library and I could only keep going with one song, it would be that one. Just because the emotional connection to it, just the tonal structure of it, the writing style of it, it's pretty much close to a perfect, Raven Chain song.
Now we're just going to get to know Raven just for Raven. We're gonna pick his brain a little bit on just his music style here, what he likes. So,
oh, good.
If you,
good God,
if you could write an album equivalent to your favorite band's album, which album would that be? If you could write one just not exactly like it, but come close, which one would it be?
Holy shit. I don't think I've ever had that question asked of me that way.
Until you get on this show, then all hell breaks loose.
Yeah. That's a really tough one. I would honestly, because of the success of it, probably Nine Inch Nails' Downward Spiral.
Okay.
It's one of those albums just from start. I can listen to the whole thing. And it's very similar. I mean, obviously, Nine Inch Nails were a pretty big influence, growing up. So maybe Antichrist Superstar by Marilyn Manson.
Oh, that's a good one.
Or Bloody Kisses by Typo Negative. I would say those three are just literally from beginning to end perfect.
Those three albums are gigantic. I mean, for anybody that disagrees with me, that's totally fine. But I just don't see how you cannot have those three in your top 20. Easily top
10. Yeah, definitely not for me. I mean, and again, my music taste is so diverse and quirky. Like, I could have said, Michael Jackson's, Bad album. Again, fantastic, but I go all over the spectrum, but if I would probably pick those three just never get old.
All right, Raven, if you could be a member in an iconic band and play one of their legendary shows, which band would it be and what show would it be possibly?
Oh, I'd probably have to say Alice Cooper in Detroit in the late 70s and playing I Love the Dead.
Now, is this Alice Cooper before he went famous or after?
He was pretty famous late 70s, yeah. This
What's
is definitely after the chicken incident and,
his Ozzy-esque incident here, as we should say.
Yeah.
What's been your most memorable show that the band has been a part of that you still can't believe that it was to this day, man? Is there one that sticks out for you that says, man, I don't know how we're going to top that one?
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's been several. We played with a lot of great bands and been on festivals, but my most memorable show of all time would be opening up for Typo Negative at L'Amour's in Brooklyn.
Jeez.
And we got to play CBGB's before they closed down, and that was cool just because of the history there. But I mean, it really was just a shithole. But being on the same stage as Typo Negative in their home bar, yeah, that was just, that was amazing. That
was a thing back in the day, man. If you made CBGB's and played there, you were something in my book,
Yeah, it was funny. I remember it was very difficult to get into CBGB's. I mean, early on when they first started, obviously, as long as you were good, you could get in there. But toward the time we got to go in there, it was they had such a name for themselves. They did not care. You had to be someone to get in there, and luckily, they liked our stuff, and I guess we had made enough of a name for ourselves, or a bad name for ourselves. They let us in.
Is there a song that you want to cover possibly, but to you it's just taboo that you won't touch it?
I've always wanted to do Pink Floyd's Run Like Hell, but again, how do you top Pink Floyd? How do you do it well enough to where it's going to stand out on its own and not copy the original? I mean, what's going to change? My voice instead of Rogers? So
yeah, that's true.
To me, I would, I love that song. I would love to cover that song, but we stick to obscure stuff that's so off the beaten path, like I Ran from Flock of Seagulls, which is on this album. We've also, we've never recorded it and released it, but we would cover a Lady Gaga song just to be those assholes.
Now the new album is going to be coming out, you said late fall, early spring next year. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. So how can folks stay in touch with Sister Kill Cycle? Pick up this album, Blood Money Death, everything under the name of Sister Kill Cycle, even the new stuff that's going to come out later on. How can he do that, Raven?
Well, obviously our official website at sisterkillcycle.com. If you're on Facebook, it's Facebook/Sister Kill Cycle. Instagram is official SKC. TikTok is Sister Kill Cycle official. We're pretty much just do a Google search and you'll find any way to get a hold of us. See the videos, hear the music.
I'll also have these links in the description of this interview once it posts. So that way people can go look at it, check it out. You have no excuses, folks. I've got everything right there for your little fingertips. So you just got to click it. That's all you got to do. Everybody stick around. We got some great stuff coming up. You only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour. Please get out and check out our Facebook page. It has our YouTube link. And also, please get out to YouTube and subscribe to BODS Mayhem Hour if you like what I'm doing, and I hope you guys and gals do. And also check out Sister Kill Cycle. Pick up Blood Money Death. Pick up all their singles, everything. Give this band a fair shot. You'll be surprised. This band is really great. And Raven, thank you so much for doing this interview with me. As always, I wish you guys nothing but the best of luck, my brother.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.